My name is Brooklyn Sherman, and I'm the Community Relations Coordinator here at Life Choice Ministries. First, I just want to thank you for being interested in being a captain for the Walk for Life. You're super important to us and important to the walk and how we fundraise, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So with that being said, this video is for those of you who can't make it to a captain meeting. We really like when you can come into the office and be a part of the in-person captain meeting, but if you cannot, then this would be a good substitute. Or even if you did make it to the captain meeting, if you're confused or you missed something, this would be a good video to watch to just make sure that you know everything, or if you have questions. So I'm going to walk us through our captain booklet. It's the Walk for Life captain information, and each of you will get one of these that you'll have for yourself. And I'm just going to explain it page by page. The first page is the 2020 Walk for Life Captain Guideline, and it's really just explains everything about being a captain. And so first, we want you to be enthusiastic. We want you to be creative. Do your own thing. Step out of the box. Find new ways to recruit walkers and more ways to encourage your walkers. So the biggest thing that we want to highlight is the registration deadline. This might be backwards to you, but the registration deadline is April 19th. And I want you to mark that on your calendar, circle it, underline it, bold it, because that deadline is super, super important for us. And I'll explain later why that's super important. Just make sure that you know when that deadline is and that you're keeping that on the forefront of your mind. So number one on this guideline is that walkers must turn in the registrations to you by April 19th so that you can get the stuff to us by April 20th. So you're able to register people for the walk until the 19th. And that is when you would cut off the registrations. And then on the 20th, you need to turn in all those registrations to us at the office. We need them by the 20th because we need to order shirts that day. Anyone who registers before the registration deadline gets to have a free shirt. We suggest a $5 donation, but we have to get those shirts ordered on the 20th in order for them to be here for the walk. So that's why we need you to be super aware of that date. So next, I'm going to show you and kind of talk you through the registration sheet, which is on the next page of this if you're looking at your captain booklet as well. The registration sheet, really it says our theme, which is Walk in Love, and it says the date and the time and where the location of the walk is. And it also has a registration deadline at the top. And we need you guys to make sure that all of these registration forms are filled out completely. So names, addresses, emails, especially if they mark that they want to get the e-newsletter, because we can't send them the e-newsletter if we don't have their email. But just make sure that this is filled out entirely so that we just have all the information of all of our walkers so that we can do everything at the office that we need to do. And make sure that they mark their shirt size, and if they didn't, then they just won't get a shirt. And then of course make sure they sign it and date it. So I just wanted to explain that real quick because number 2 on the captain guidelines says when someone turns in a completed registration form to you, you give them a walker packet. So you're at church and someone walks up to your booth and they fill out this sheet. Well, after they give you back that sheet, you would then hand them a walker packet. And this is what that looks like. And you'll have 10 of these, but I'll explain the walker packet later. So number 3 on the guidelines, moving right down the list, says when you receive the registration forms, transfer the necessary information about each walker to the captain checklist so that you will be able to have all the information for your walkers, because when you turn it into us, then you don't have it anymore. So there is a checklist later in this packet that I will point out again, but just make sure that you're recording who registered and who your walkers are, and that you have their emails so that when we send you information, you're able to send it on to your walkers. That's kind of why we have captains, is you're our point of contact, and then you then send it out. So again, number 3 is talking about making sure the registration forms are clear and that it's clear the size of shirt they want and how many shirts they want, so that we're able to do our part on the 20th after you turn in the stuff to us. And if they give their suggested $5 donation for the shirts, go ahead and send that in as well. Number 4 on the guidelines says turn in the registration forms to our office by Monday, April 20th so that we can submit the t-shirt order. Go ahead and circle number 4 as well, because we really need those forms turned into us by Monday the 20th. And if they're not, then I will probably personally be tracking you down so that we can get those, because we really want to be able to have those shirts before the Walk for Life. So number 5 says after April 20th, your role is that of a cheerleader. So from the day that people register until the day of the walk, they're able to go out and get sponsors and ask people to sponsor them and really be able to raise money in that window. And so since you're no longer recruiting walkers, your job is to encourage them in them gaining sponsors. And that is another reason why it's important for you to have their emails, because I'll be sending you different emails throughout this whole process, and after I send them to you, your role is to send them out to your walkers. And another really good tool that we have is if you go to our Facebook page, you can find our groups, and we have a group for captains for this year, and we have a group for participants this year. So you as a captain, really, you need to go to our page and ask to join the captain group, because that is also where I could be sending different tools and suggestions to pass out, or for you guys to send different things that you've been doing, because we've asked you to be creative. So if you found a new thing to do or a new way to do things, then please share that so that we can try to implement that as well. So you need to join the captain group, and you can also join the participants as well. But your job is to tell your walkers about the participants group and how helpful that is, and we'll be sending out things there, and and we'll be encouraging them there. So they need to go on to our Facebook page under groups and find the 2020 Walk for Life participants group and ask to join. So that's on you guys to tell your walkers about. So number 6 said that you'll receive emails periodically about tips and the fundraising, and that's when you forward them. And then number 7 says walkers should really be gearing up for the walk and getting sponsors by the 26th of April. So that's a week after the registration deadline. So by then, I mean, they've been at least registered for a week, and so they really need to get the ball going, and they really need to be asking people. And so you need to encourage them, if they haven't been, to just go and ask some people, touch base with them, to maintain the momentum. And if possible, even make a announcement in church about who's walking, and then that way your church members know who they can sponsor. So now I'm going to explain the walker packet. We looked at what the registration looks like in your captain info book, but if you turn the very next 2 pages, you have a sponsor sheet and a how it works sheet. So those are actually the 2 sheets of paper that are on the walker packet. So when you get your captain info booklet, I will also give you this manila folder of walker packets and registration sheets. So you'll have 10 walker packets, go back in there, and 10 registration sheets. And if you need more than these, we have some at the office. You can come by and grab some, or I can send you the documents so that you can just make copies, whichever works for you, and we'll be happy to do either one. But I'm going to walk you through the walker packet so that you're able to walk your walkers through the walker packet. So first, we will talk about their sponsor sheet. So even though they filled out this information on their registration form, they still need to fill out all the information on their walker sheet or on their sponsor sheet. So please make sure that they are filling out every piece of information so that we're not left to try to fill in the gaps. Just a typical information. It also has some information about Life Choice Ministries right here, so that they can share that with those who they're asking to sponsor them. And then there are 4 options when they're gaining sponsors, like 4 options for their sponsors to give. They can give with a check written out to Life Choice Ministries. They can pay with cash. They can be billed from us after the walk, or they can pay through PayPal. And there's a fancy little QR code right here that they can just scan, and that will take them straight to give, or they can give online at lifechoiceks.org/donate.html. So there's an easy little donate button when you go to our website. And when they're filling out their donor records, each person who sponsors this walker will fill out a different box. And each of these little boxes need to be filled out well also. And you guys need to make sure that you tell your walkers, if the walkers cannot read what are in these boxes, then we will not be able to read what's in the boxes. So then we will not know who to bill, or who gave, or who to give recognition to, or who to send a thank you to. So please make sure that all of the information is filled out in these little boxes and that is able to be read. And please make sure that it's easier to get the money then with a check or cash. But if they need to be billed, that's fine. Just make sure that if we're billing them, that there's an address for us to send a bill to. And if they're doing it over PayPal, please make sure that you ask them about the amount that they wanted to give, and that you mark that they're giving through PayPal. And we're also giving out these really bright orange sheets that have a QR code on them. And these are what your walkers can give to their sponsors who said that they're going to give over PayPal. This is just a really visual reminder for those people. It allows them to write the amount and the walker's name, and it's just a reminder for them. They can go hang it on their refrigerator, or put it in their purse, and then the next time they open their purse, they'll see this bright orange piece of paper and they'll look at it and they'll be like, oh my goodness, I was going to give for the Walk for Life for so-and-so, and I was going to give this amount. That's what I told them. So I'm going to go online to PayPal and give that right now. So that's what the goal of these are. So make sure that you are using them for those who said that they were going to give over PayPal. If by chance your walkers fill out all of these donor records, which would be awesome, have them get another one from us. We would love to give them another one. So that's the first part of the walker packet. The second part of the walker packet is this sheet of how it works. And this really just lays out for the walker when the walk is, where it is, what time it is. They need to be there at 9 a.m. and that's when they would come to you to get their stuff and they hand in their stuff. So what it says is that they are needing to ask everybody that they know to sponsor. We really want them to encourage their sponsors to give at that time. It's just easier. But if they want to be billed or want to pay online, that's totally fine too. And it reminds them that checks are to be made at Life Choice Ministries and that all donations are tax deductible. Please make sure that you walk through this with your walkers so that they just know all the information. Sometimes people don't read stuff. But then number 2 is like, how do I get sponsors? Simple. You ask everybody that you know to give to you as a sponsorship. And then it tells them that they can donate online and the give button, and to make sure that there's a little spot when you give on PayPal under the amount that says add special instructions to the seller. So they're wanting the people who are sponsoring them to write their name as the walker in that box so that we know who the donation is going to or towards or for. So when someone asks a question about Life Choice Ministries, we don't want people to guess the answer, and we don't want them to even have the pressure of trying to figure out what the best answer is. So going back to the sponsor sheet, there is information about Life Choice here. So if the answer is on here, let them know from here. And if the answer is not on here, have them either visit our website or call us. That just takes the pressure off you from having to give a good answer, and it just makes sure that everyone is getting valid answers about Life Choice. Number 5 says to be sure your sponsor sheet has complete names and addresses. We cannot stress this enough, but we really do need every form to be complete. And they turn in their sponsor sheets and their pledge money to their captain, so to you, on the day of the walk. So we'll get to your instructions for the day of the walk in just a second. But their job as a walker is to turn in all their stuff to you on the day of the walk, and that's when you would give them their t-shirt. And then we'll hear a short ministry update, and then we'll all walk around the park for 2 miles, and then we'll enjoy refreshments and fellowship together. So it'll be really, really fun. There's also parking instructions on here as well on number 6. Parking's a little tricky at Longs Park, but you can park along the street, on nearby side streets, or in the Ag Press parking lot. We got permission from them to use their parking lot because they're not open on Saturdays anyways. So it's perfect. You can also let walkers know that even if they're not able to be there on May 9th, they're still allowed to walk and gain sponsors. We just encourage them to walk 2 miles on their own sometime and then turn in all their stuff to us. And then last and finally, we just want everyone, walkers, captains, us, to be praying about this event and pray about our goal of 30,000 and our goal of 300 walkers that God will just provide. We wrote on here that we have faith that He will use you to accomplish our financial goal to enable LCM to continue to share His love for each and every life. So we as Life Choice staff will be praying for you as captains, and we'll be praying for your walkers as well, and we'll be praying for this whole event. So we ask that you would be in prayer for it as well. And then that was just the how it works side. The back side is how to raise $500 in 10 days. This is very doable. We watched Barb do it a couple years ago on Facebook Live, but this is really easy for walkers to read. It just goes day by day and tells them, okay, on day 1 you sponsor yourself $50, on day 2 you ask family members, and day 3 and all the way to day 10, which is if you completed everything and everyone gave what you asked, then you have $500, which is great. So this is just a really practical way to raise the money, and even if you can't raise $500, it just gives you suggestions of who to ask. So these 2 things make up the walker packet, along with 4 QR code, small little pages, and also a little envelope for them to collect their money in. So we need them to put everything into this little envelope the day of the walk and hand this to you. And please just stress to them and encourage them and ask them to make sure that everything totals up right before they hand it to you. Make sure that they can read everything that was given, and that anyone who paid with cash or check is marked that, and that the amount of money that they have in here matches the amount that's marked paid on here. If they marked bill me, they'll get billed later, and if they marked PayPal, there's no way for you to tell if they gave yet. But just make sure the ones that paid cash and check, the totals add up to what you have totaled physically in here. So that'll just make everything go smoother and keep everyone accountable. The next part in your walker packet is your Walk for Life instructions. It's the blue sheet. The day of the walk, we really need you to be there by 8:30 a.m. To be able to get your t-shirts and to be in your spot and ready to go when your walkers start arriving at 9. And we would really like to get a captain picture too, so just make sure that you're there. And it's at Longs Park, 17th and Yuma, on May 9th, 8:30 a.m. And it says on the second instruction, please make sure your walkers double check their sponsor sheets ahead of time to be sure they are marked paid, bill me, or PayPal. So you could do this by sending out an email and encouraging them to check over their sponsor sheet the night before or whatever. And it says make sure that the donations collected match the amounts listed as paid. So that doesn't mean the morning of the walk that you pull out everyone's stuff and that you make sure. No, make sure that they're doing that the night before, because we don't want all those envelopes being opened at the park where there's a ton of people and maybe it's windy, and we just don't want stuff to get lost or misplaced. So you don't have to open them up at the walk when people give them to you, but just make sure that you've communicated the day before that you're asking them to double check all their stuff. Once you collect all the sponsor sheets from your walkers and have given out all the t-shirts to them. You then take all the sponsor sheets that you've collected and you put them in a big envelope. It doesn't have to be this one. We're giving you this one that has the walker sheets and the sponsor sheets, but we're going to give you another one of these envelopes on the day of the walk, and it'll have a big piece of paper on it that says your church or your group and your name as a captain. It'll have a checklist of everyone who's walking there so that you can mark off when people come. And this is where you're going to put their sponsor sheets when you collect them. And once you have everybody's, you're going to take this to the administration table and give it to Cheryl. And Cheryl will be standing there the whole time, and she'll collect these from you guys so that you don't have to deal with them anymore. And once you turn it in, really that's it. Like, all you have to do is stand there with your team, and we'll hear a message from Amy about our ministry, and then we'll walk 2 miles and enjoy refreshments together, and it'll be really fun. So it's really not overwhelming. There'll also be extra t-shirts that you can tell people this. There'll be extra t-shirts the day of the walk, but they're $10, and it's a first come first serve basis. We're really not going to order that many extra because we don't want extra sitting around our office. So on the back side of that day of the walk instructions is your Walk for Life team checklist, so that you can keep track of who your walkers are and what their emails are, so that you can be in contact with them. So there's a neat little sheet already formed for you, and you can put the name, their phone number, their address, or their email address, and that just allows you to keep track of who is walking for your team. And odds are more people are going to sign up online instead of going and signing up with you in person. So if people sign up online and put your church as their church, then I'll send you an email and let you know, hey, so-and-so's walking in your group, just wanted to let you know, here's their email address, so that you can be in contact with them. And I will also let them know that you're their captain and that I'm sending on their information. The next thing in this captain booklet is a calendar of March and April. And you do not have to do everything that is on here. This is just a suggested layout of different things that you could be doing at different parts of the month. And there's not something on every single day, but the biggest things on here is to kick off on March 15th. That's when we first want you to advertise it in your church and to have a booth set up at church and to really start getting people even registered then. So, and I won't read everything to you that's on here, but you can go ahead and look at it when you have your booklet. The next biggest thing is the registration deadline on April 19th. We want you to circle, underline, bold this date, because we really need you to have all your registrations done by then and turn them into us on the 20th. I even circled it on there. We really need these by the 20th, or you will be hearing from me tracking you down, because we really need these on the 20th. And another thing that we're doing differently this year is usually we marked on April every Wednesday that we were going to do a prayer walk together, and even though we love the idea, it just never really worked out, and it's hard for people to get there on their lunch break. So what we did is we took that off the calendar itself and we made this prayer suggestion page. And what it's really telling you to do is to pick a day of the week that you are going to do a prayer walk for this event. It could be a Wednesday again, or it could be a Saturday, or it can be a Thursday after work. And what you do is on that day of the week, you take a prayer walk either by yourself or with your team. If your whole group wants to do it together, or with whoever's around, you can even grab just your friend and walk around the neighborhood, or even walk around Longs Park, which is where we're going to have the event, and just do a prayer walk. It doesn't have to be long, but there's also a list of suggested things to pray about, and so you don't have to pray for each of these things every time, and you can pray for other things too, obviously. But yeah, we just really want this event to be covered in prayer, and this is just a way to do it. The next page is the Walk for Life table display. This is just suggestions for how to set up your table display at your church, starting on March 15th. And we're really encouraging you guys to make it attractive and eye-catching, because otherwise people can just walk right by it. Make sure that you're standing in front of it and not behind it. Make sure you're inviting, and that you're really being interactive with the people walking by. And you can have the sponsor sheets on there and the registration forms, and in the back of the booklet, we're giving you some documents that you can have on there. This is the impact of a gift. It lays out just how much money it takes to do some of the stuff we do. So $160 provides emergency formula for 10 babies, or $1,641 provides ministry to one abortion vulnerable client from the initial pregnancy test to the birth of her baby. That's one of my favorite impacts. But have this out there for people to see, so that they know that the money they're collecting is really going to help real people. And so have that on your table. We have a couple different flyers that you can either make copies of and put around your church, or you can have on your table. Both of them just say where the walk is and when it is, and the theme, and have a cute little baby picture, and yeah, so you can have these on your table as well. We just really want to equip you guys with some good materials and stuff like that. And then this is also like a fun little sheet. Have a goal of how many walkers you want. Our suggested goal is 10 to 15 walkers, but you can have more, or you can make it specific. So go ahead and write your goal on there and have it showing, so that when people sign up, they know that like they're helping to meet that goal. And it just gives a really good visual. This is just a really bright piece of paper that lets them know that t-shirts are a suggested donation of $5. They don't have to give $5, but it just really helps offset the cost, so that really everything that we're making from sponsorships goes straight to Life Choice Ministries, so we don't have to pay for t-shirts or anything like that. So that's just why we're asking for a suggested donation of $5. The last couple things that we have for you is just a developmental book. Some of them have just these little brochures about how you began. Some of them have the first 9 months book that we give to our clients. And then we also have at least some brochures in each packet as well. And so people are welcome to take those if they want. And yeah, so really make that table something special. Make it bright, make it fun. Have candy. People love candy. And just make it personal. Share why you're walking. Share why you are a captain. Share why you are connected to Life Choice Ministries. And the very last page that we have on here is suggestions for bulletin inserts. So when you're like, if you're allowed to put a little insert into the bulletin, we just have 6 different examples of short paragraphs that you could put into the bulletin about the Walk for Life this year. That is your captain info booklet, and that has everything that you should need to be a captain. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit more about the logistics of the Walk for Life, and our goal for the Walk for Life is $30,000. And in bulk, that can sound like a lot of money, but if you break it down and think about how many people are participating in the walk and how many people are fundraising, it's really not that crazy of a goal. So according to this PowerPoint, we have 16 teams that are going to be walking in the walk. And so that means that each team needs to raise $1,875, and that helps us meet our goal. And actually, we have 17 teams now. We had one more team join in. So that number is even just a little smaller. So if you have 10 walkers per team, that means each person needs to raise $188. And if you have 20 walkers per team, then each walker needs to raise $94. That's just so doable. And then let's say 10 walkers per team all raise $300 each. That means that we have a total of $48,000. And I shared with you guys earlier the $500 challenge page. It's a green page in the packet. And let's say 10 walkers per team take the $500 challenge and raise that much. We have $80,000. That is incredible. But the likelihood of 10 walkers per team actually taking and raising that challenge is pretty slim. So let's say 4 walkers per team take that challenge. That's still meeting our goal, even above meeting our goal, and gives us $32,000. And then you can assume that everyone else on the team will at least do something, and then we're over our goal. So I just wanted to show you guys how doable this goal of $30,000 really is, especially if everyone does their part and raises the money. Of course, if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me, Brooklyn Sherman at Life Choice Ministries. My email address is connect@lifechoiceks.org, and you can always call the office or stop by. Thanks again for being a captain this year, and we're just really thankful for you guys.